everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Evolve Point, your Shadowverse podcast for all the news and goings-on in the world of Shadowverse, Worlds Beyond specifically. I'm your host, Ignideus, content creator, caster. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Such Patanko, fellow streamer. Hello.
It's me. Hello, hi.
And also Lord Kalen, moderator of the Shadowverse subreddit. Hi.
Heck yeah, man. I'm back in my dragon fit because I'm back in that dragon craft.
I'm so proud of you. Have you been doing well with Dragoncraft?
Yes, I am diamond and cannot believe I haven't fallen out.
Nice.
You've been seething a lot, but at least it's working somewhat this time.
Well, I'll tell you right now, we didn't record last week because I was really, really busy with personal stuff and being very sad. But I decided to record this week because I thought that 2 weeks off would be too long. And then when I inevitably return, the amount of news would be a lot, and it would be a pain in the butt to record. So, forcibly, I've dragged myself here to record this episode. Hello.
We're going to help you be less sad, or else.
Okay, I appreciate
that. That's a threat.
Yeah, I have been making an effort to go out more. Like yesterday, I went to karaoke with someone. It was fun.
Nice.
All right. What have you guys been up to this past week?
A little bit of Night Rain, a little bit of Helldivers, and a hell of a lot of Shadowverse. Been getting all those chests.
The other day was my birthday. Say something about my birthday,
Happy
please.
Birthday. I can't believe you're so old, dude. It always gets me. Man.
Everybody, you have to be nice to Tonko in this episode. Okay? That's a fact.
Like that time worm guy.
I was, I went out with a bunch of friends and drank like 15 shots of sake. That sounds like I'm just making up a random number. It was at least a dozen shots. It was pretty cool.
Very nice. I don't know how you fit all of that in your small, petite body.
It was never the same after that.
Okay. Shall we move on to the news?
What news?
Well, the first thing is that there's basically no news. And the second thing is, the chess event that you mentioned earlier, it's happening. It's going on until September 11th. Never forget. Okay. So
Don't forget the deadline.
Have you gotten was it Cruel Cosmetics, I believe? Right?
Yeah, it's cruel. And if you I don't get how people manage to go multiple days without getting the sleeve and emblem. I always get them on the first 2 days.
Don't say that. You're gonna get people mad by just assuming. Like, hey guys, just.
Although usually, yes, God.
At least usually okay. So I've said several things of like, okay, it's not that hard, guys. Just whatever. Putting that aside.
No,
usually, traditionally, getting the cosmetics at least is typically not that hard. I say that. I'm pretty sure the cosmetics are really easy to drop in comparison, especially compared to the gold chest. Unless.
The gold chest is guaranteed one a day. The cosmetic chest is not guaranteed each day.
Yeah, but like usually the cosmetic can get in. You can get in just like the first couple of chests.
Yeah,
most of the
it can
time.
be any of the four before the gold. So you got 4 chances at each cosmetic a day. But what always gets me is why do you want them? Like, why do you want those sleeves? They're just a character
very pretty.
I mean, I like her because I'm an Izudia fan, but
but I mean, I'll fact check this, but you can't even globe these sleeves, right? You can't gem them. You can't even animate these cruel sleeves, right?
Are you sure about that? You can gem like all the Worlds Beyond sleeves, can't you?
Let's see here. Premium. No, you can't. You cannot apply a Seer's gem to them because they aren't like obtained via a premium method. The only 2 sleeves I own that you can apply a gem to are the Chiron Stygian Oarswoman and Lapis Shining Seraph Alt Arts that I've got.
I like Kroll a lot. I like her voice a lot. She shares the same English voice actress as Benaria, my classic main.
And we won't
but also the
cover
voice actress is Well, let's just leave it at
that. There's also Take-Two Rune adjustments. Well, I just whipped the camera around by accident. I was trying to get to another tab. There's Take-Two Rune adjustments that just got announced literally an hour ago. Since we starting this recording, Rune is getting their number of rerolls upped from 2 to 5 rerolls, joining the ranks of Forest and Haven of having more rerolls.
No, they got reset. They got reset when the expansion changed over, the meta changed, the cards changed, so
I
all
see.
rerolls reset back to 2.
So now only Rune gets 5.
Yes,
I
only
guess-
Rune currently has 5. But
That's
from
like-
what I've heard of Take-Two, they needed it because this entire expansion they got is a bunch of synergistic garbage. So their
Yeah, I
Take-Two
was-
pool probably got like really diluted.
I was just going to say that this is kind of empirical proof from the developers that the Rune cards this set are crap. So,
They-
good stuff.
You
I don't know.
guys-
Maybe
you
Rune
guys say
deserved
that?
it. But the issue is that Rune still survived off the cards it already had.
Oh no, just add Guild Elise because you like it just gives
Yeah.
Q1 a new way to win. So
You guys say this, but I've seen the truth. The whole day I've been doing my chest with Truth Rune,
yeah,
and it
how's going?
is. It's not the worst thing ever.
The
It's
best
like a slightly different version of Earthright Rune, to be honest, where you play a bunch of the Earth just good stuff cards, and you have a really funny late game with Ryo, but it basically plays kind of like Fenny at home, which is ironic because for some reason I'm in Grandmaster, right? I reached Grandmaster, but I fought the only 2 Fenny players in Grandmaster.
I can
not
explain
even
that.
not even Ramp Dragon, just actual full on Fenny, and I lost to both.
Yeah.
I can
They
explain
out-Fenny
that.
me.
That is the simple matter that Dragon demands Finny if they expect to beat Crest Haven, and also they are in Grandmaster, where likely for more than any other craft, it's easiest to become beyond rank with Dragon because there's less players playing Dragon compared to the others. Maybe Portal
Wait.
would be easier.
Is that how that works?
Yes, it's
Beyond
it's
is
Beyond
only
makes
the top
Beyond-
100. It's
What?
the top 100 by elo
Oh,
for
okay.
each craft. So
But even
Portal
then, though,
might not be good enough to get the wins for the elo, but easier to get beyond. Whereas Dragon's in a state where not many people are playing it, but it wins games.
even then, though, I thought that Fenny would just be a tech. No, dude, I had a game where
No.
I somehow let them get away with dropping all 3 Fennies in one single game.
There's
And I was like, I
literally-
basically deserve to lose at that point.
There's no way for Disdain to beat Crest without. You have to kill them with double Genesis. It's your only way.
Well,
Because otherwise, you just.
I
heal with
have
Venison.
been winning some games, but it demands so much pressure, or get really damn lucky with your opening first few turns of playing really aggressive cards, and they just don't find their board clear. I hate Crest Haven. I think, yeah, sure, Haven might have deserved a moment in the spotlight, a time to shine, but not like this.
We'll talk about that a little more in the main topic. Let's not blow our whole load right in the first 10 minutes. Let's move on to the next topic, though. It is the esports. There's been 2 big tournaments that happened recently. The Shadowverse Extra Championship over in Japan, Osaka specifically. The winner was Crest Haven and Spell Boost Rune. And that seems to be the preferred lineup for this 2-deck best of 3 format across the world right now. Even in the other circuits from around the world, that's just what people are playing, what people have decided is the best lineup, including in the next tournament I want to talk about, SVO Qualifier 2, where most of the people were playing Crest and Boost, but the winner was Izudia and Mode. Now, I will say this up top, as a professional caster, I'm not going to be covering the drama that happened here. If you want to hear somebody talk about the drama, go over to twitch.tv/suchpatonko and you can hear them talk
I have
about
no
it.
shame. I talked about it in my Crest Haven stream. Yes.
I am neutral and unbiased. Anyway, what do you think about this? Crest Boost and then Izudia Mode. I think one of them is definitely more expected than the other, surely.
So, Izudia is favorable against Crest and is fine against Spell Boost. I don't know about Mode, though, in the sense that usually when I fight against Mode, it might just be because of the decks I've been playing, but Mode just only really works if I draw bad. Like, I've said that about a bunch of decks in the past, so I just feel middling thoughts. I feel middle thoughts about Mode so far, but it's fine. It works.
I think Mode is kind of boring to play, and it's also like, if you want to beat certain matchups, it kind of requires you to get the Shamnasha effect off pretty early, and that feels like kind of up to it feels like you're putting your fate to draw variants a lot of the time.
Yeah, it feels like it can peter off the moment where you need Sham, but you just don't get Sham fast enough. That being said, though, I really, really like the idea of mode in the sense that it's a quest-based deck. You have a obvious goal, a quest to fulfill, but it's a very flexible quest where just playing modes has a lot of room for different card design in the future. There's tons of interesting mode or useful mode cards they can produce in the future, so it's a promising archetype, I assume. I'm hoping.
Well, I mean,
I just don't see them on ranked much.
It's
at
fully
all.
Performing pretty well though, because there's been like quite a few top level players playing mode, or even just like regular mid range with some of the mode cards in it, and doing pretty okay and beyond. But the problem is that I feel like a lot of the times it does feel a bit slow, and I feel like Crest kind of does that better in a lot. I also
I'd
think
love to
that
play the deck. I just can't afford it.
I also think that mode like is like unless you get the congregants off super quickly and make a board that Rune can't deal with, then Rune can often beat it when it gets to the late game, and then Crest can clear the congregants by just using the cup. So that's also pretty bad. Izudia, I do like. It's the only deck I've been playing this whole set, basically. So it's like I consider myself an Izudia connoisseur. I don't think any matchup is a blowout, except for except for Roach, I guess. The spell boost is still winnable, I think. So it's not easy, but it's winnable. And then Roach is the blowout.
Yeah,
where
Roach
you just can't win.
Roach is the one deck that can easily, or at least consistently, OTK Izudia on time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough Izudias. I know that my egg falls apart against Izudia, so I'm kind of glad Izudia's not more popular.
Though the only way Egg wins versus Izudia is just by drawing Odin 3 turns in a row on curve.
No, I have done that, and it works, but like, man. It kind of that's all I
Dragon
do.
can beat Izudia if, like every other deck, you just get really lucky and draw enough storms.
Yeah,
well, I think it's also a matter. Sure, you can try to outstorm Izudia, but they've got a heal 9. They have a card that can heal like 8. So yeah.
Well, no, that's
originally
the
I
issue.
thought that I thought Izudia was a fair, reasonable OTK deck at first, in the sense that it's a 20 damage OTK designed from the ground up without much heals. But it has heals. It's got the funny beast that just heals for each card.
That only comes on turn 8, and it's your whole turn. And if you don't have an evolve, you're cooked as well.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
And the reason why Dragon can beat Izudia is because their only mid-game heal is Guild Unleash, and you can't trade into Forte, so you just die. So that one's pretty hard too. But in like against Crest and Boost is technically winnable, especially if they evolve Burgent. You can really make them feel powerless. Wink, wink. And against Crest, it's also possible. But if they draw their Marwyn on time, it gets a little. But that's what I mean. It's like nothing feels like a blowout. Everything feels kind of even. Everything feels winnable, which is why I like playing it. It's like every game is like, I don't know how it's gonna turn out. You know, it's not like because sometimes when you play a deck and you see the matchup on the head to head, you're like, oh, I should win this, and then when you lose, you get really frustrated. And then when you win, you're like, oh, whatever. But with Izudia, every game's like, all right, time to lock in, and I've been really enjoying that kind of stimulation. Anyway, I like it.
I've had Izudia the whole time, but I only played it day one and just kind of got lazy. So I gotta hop onto it sometime.
Dude, we didn't unpack a single Forest Legendary this X pack.
We also got a couple of upcoming events as well. SVO Qualifier 3, of course. The registration ends on September 7th. Oh, it's already ended. And then the tournament is on the 13th and the 14th. So look forward to that. I'm also going to be casting that with my good friend Chris Different Fight. And then again, we talked about this last week, but just a pleasant reminder: Shadowverse Online tournament is in September, held by the JP side, but technically is available in some SEAO countries. But there is no English support, so you are going to have to communicate in Japanese. But the qualifier qualifies you to the SVO Grand Finals, which then qualifies you to World Grand Prix, while the SV Online qualifies you directly to the World Grand Prix. Both worth checking out. Great. And now we're moving on to the main topic, which is, well, Heirs of the Omen came out since the last episode. What do we think? What's your experience so far?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel like they jumped the shark way too soon on the omens. All these new deck types.
You hate it so much you got Ligma. He's coughing.
I've been sick for 2 months. The coughing's never going away.
Straight.
That's pretty bad. I mean, I think Taco certainly likes this set more.
I feel like the turns of table, because I've been doing just fine. There's like stuff that gets me salty and all, but honestly, the thing that gets me most salty about this expansion is that about like 2/3 of the meta has kind of just gone back to playing spell boost and sword. So a huge chunk of the meta just feels like set 2 meta. And Tonko hates set 2 meta. So I do like the new decks. I do like most of the new archetypes so far. In spite of some archetypes feeling really, really annoying to fight against, like Crest Haven, it's just refreshing to see new archetypes that can stand up to the indomitable, indestructible spell boost and swords. So yeah.
I don't know if I just don't agree with printing a 20 damage OTK this soon, or Gilneas being a generic.
But we've already had OTK since set 1 with Roach and Gokainis, so I don't know.
Well, that's kind of a problem with those being printed. Omen is still one of my least favorite cards with the generic banish, but at least he gives you a chance to counterplay eggs. Some other particular decks, Crest Haven, have no counterplay at all in this game.
Jaden, your most hated cards are Odin and Gilneas, but those are the 2 cards that are keeping my decks alive, bro.
Yeah, I know.
My truth, Rune does not stand a chance without Odin and Gilneas, bro. Let me have this.
I do think
I hate Crest Haven so much, and I think it's really quite funny that Maddening Benison went from the worst card printed in the game to something that needs to be adjusted, because it cannot be an intended mechanic that card is 2 play point, heal 10 for no cost.
See, we already knew that was a possibility, that like, if you happen to have all 5 crests, then it becomes a full heal without the negative crest. We never imagined that we'd already have a deck like that immediately in the following expansion.
I mean, to be fair, I did predict in set review that it would be good, because all the cards read really good. But did I expect this level of dominance from it, both on ladder and in competitive play? I don't think anybody did. Kind of crazy because the thing about Crest Haven is that it covers both Roach, because it runs all wards, and it beats any deck that does chip damage because of the healing and, the constant clears. The only way to beat Crest is an OTK. So even though, Kaylin, I know you don't like OTKs,
they have the best defensive tool against an OTK in Barrier for the leader.
It's still the best way, though, because if you super evolve, you can pop it.
I don't know. Oh, go on. Let me finish your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, I think the fact that it's only checked by one kind of thing makes it a little... I guess it feels inflexible to try and find solutions to Crest, because whatever you do, it just has to be a way to kill them in one turn. And that's difficult, right? Because only so few decks can do that. Like, not even Loot can do that. Loot is always a 2 TK at best, which is why Crest, if they draw the Benison, can just maul Loot so hard.
Yeah.
I have a really... I feel like I'm going through a whole separate ladder from everybody else, because for one, I don't see much Crest Haven anymore. And I kind of wish I saw more Crest Haven, because I don't know what it is about the decks I've been playing, but they've been doing fine against Crest specifically.
Yeah, mine too, but I play Izudia, so...
like the city stinky truth rune, well, I guess pure dirt by extension. If you can make them waste or go through all the Morrowind 2-drop banishes, you can kind of just have the Phantom just sit there, for example, and just tank the Crest damage and it kind of just works. And I don't know how, but usually my egg cave, sorry, that Shadowverse Evolve. Usually my egg portal is like fine against Crest, despite them having Benison heals, despite them having so many heals to offset my my chip damage, because I have games where I'm still able to outgrind Crest, and sometimes I just kind of tech in Kokadis, just slow down Kokadis if they're gonna stall. It's just that easy. Yeah,
that's certainly one way to do it. I don't know though. I think the fact that it's like, if you take a look at Crest negative matchups, it's Boost, Roach, Fenny, and Izudia, and that is it. Well, even with Izudia,
really don't want to run Feeny, where you can't make me run her.
This might be another perhaps controversial opinion, but I kind of like that Control has made a comeback, has had a huge focus in this format.
No, I don't
It feels
disagree.
Like there's a little bit more variety in playstyles now, besides just simply
mid-range.
I guess Rune is a control deck, but there's different flavors of control now.
No, I don't entirely disagree, but my concern, right, is that we kinda went into neutral pile pretty fast.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that.
We're kind of already starting to see signs of neutral pile swap between Odin, Ginsetsu. I guess Dogged One has kind of fallen off by now, but Dogged One is still an option in the neutral pile.
Dogged One's only in Egg because Egg doesn't have anything better to play. That's my feelings on that. But
we haven't reached Wonderland Dreams level of neutral dominance yet. What was Wonderland Dreams? What
in almost every deck. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, Grimnir's a lot more popular now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, once we get that Worlds Beyond Alice to complete the neutral package, bro, it's over.
They had a Goblin Tribal and we're cooked, man.
If they actually added like something similar to the Alice package from Wonderland Dreams now, I think it would not do very well for the game's health. It's too soon.
No, I don't believe. I agree with you there. I mean, I don't believe it would, comma, I agree with you there. The way I said it made it sound like I'm disagreeing. Anyway, so to be honest, lads, I'll just be completely clean with you. Been dealing with a lot of personal issues, like I said, so I actually haven't played this expansion very much, but I did recently do the cast, of course, last week, and I'm going to do one again this week. So I still got a great overview of the meta, and of course I did my studying for the job. And honestly, the amount of playable decks in Tier 2 and Tier 1, I think, is very diverse. But somebody made a great point that, just because the meta is diverse doesn't mean it's enjoyable to play. And you might think, oh, you're just whinging no matter what then. But, the content of the decks do matter. So while I think I'm okay with the current meta, personally, I do understand why some people have these frustrations regarding these decks that have a very limited scope of counterplay, So I do understand that. Yeah.
I had a guy in my chat. I'm gonna one guy this guy. I had a guy in my chat that was complaining about control. It's like, I hate that there's so much control in this set. You can't aggro anymore. And I was like, let me guess, you a sword main? Tell me you were a sword main without telling me you were a sword main.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, there is a wider variety. I think I do like that the gap last set. I personally felt that the gap between set 1 and the gap between 2 and tier 2 felt pretty wide, and I do think that gap has decreased in this set. I think tier 2 is a lot better this time.
Yeah,
but yes, there are a lot of control decks now. And not everybody is gonna like playing control decks, and everybody hates playing against control decks, duh. And of course, the old decks like Mid-Range Sword and Spell Boost are still around, and people still want them gone, like me! I want them gone! But because this meta is so fair, we're not gonna get nerfs now, are we?
The funny thing is, Mid-Range Sword kind of fell off in favor of loot, but people are discovering that mid-range is actually favored into loot, so it's kind of making a comeback. So.
I've seen
I can
way
believe that.
more mid-range. Oh well, I've seen a pretty balanced mix of both, but I've seen more. I've died more to mid-range, to be honest, just good old classic mid-range. Because pure loot, regular pure loot, is just so fragile. Like it can just completely fall apart when they don't get their fusions on time. And if you just have a couple heals, then loot isn't gonna catch up against you. So, and a lot of decks have a lot of heals now. So,
but there is also the tablet version. You seen that one where they use the tablet? Yeah, loot
that seems to have fallen off very quickly, though.
I've seen tablet mid range, and that was perfectly fine.
It's just that with the mid-range tools, like
the sword deck that's probably the most powerful right now is probably just mid sword that runs a couple of very specific loot cards, like the
that's what I've been saying.
Well, it's more like it's a loot deck that runs specifically just Amelia and mages, and that's it in terms of the mid range.
I've seen full on to extend your Albert's damage by quite a lot as well.
I've seen full on mid range with the whole works of Amelia, Amalia, and that stuff with the 2-drop loots. Some of them still play Octress and whatever. They don't go all in on loot, but they like having the loot spells as tools. So,
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty good. The only problem is that if you play mid and you fight against Taven, they just clear your board every turn, which is also annoying. So,
but then you just be good and draw 8 storms. It's just that easy.
It is just that. I mean, that's kind of why I feel like...
hope they don't draw their Bedescends and heal 30.
No, that's why I feel like loot is just, or like sword in general is cooked against Crest. Whatever. Anyway, I'll take your guys' word for it in terms of your personal experience, obviously. For me, I've only been playing Izudia when I do have time to play, so I'm having a great time. Fun deck. Love it.
Yeah, I think I think Caden is he's especially going through it because Caden's gone back to being a Dragon Andy, specifically Dragon, and being a Dragon Andy perhaps makes you more vulnerable to the Odins and Gilneases than usual. So
yep, definitely the Gilns, definitely. I dropped Azure Ifrit. He turned out to be absolute bait.
He's
so cool, but it's not enough.
You can just drop him and add Gayu, and suddenly your deck is better. It's just night and day.
It's really quite a shame. I feel like there's this sort of sentiment online where a lot of the cards seem pre-nerfed before they get put into classes. Yep. Unless it's a sword or rune card, in which case it seems like
it's just like it's all gas. Yeah,
it's always been the case that Dragon gets cards that are very comparable to sword cards, but because you can ramp to get to them earlier, they are worse. I would say there's plenty of examples of that. Like Minotaur and Genesis are actually comparable cards. Minotaur costs 3 less for 2 less attack. Oh,
he's a centaur.
I will always get that wrong.
Are you dumb?
Yeah.
Other examples would be 2/1 ward.
Other examples would be Galmu and Phylene are both just missing 1 tick of power level.
There's
they are both underpowered by a tiny bit.
Yeah. Like, for example, how come Galmu only procs once per turn? And how come, there's another one, how come Cruel only procs once per turn? That's very odd.
Yeah, Cruel is a weird little card.
So she might as well read Heal 1 on Fanfare or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, don't get us wrong. Igni and Caden are both Dragon Andes, so they're gonna feel more personally attacked by Dragon B mid. But also, I do agree with them that it is weird that how every single wave of Dragon has felt so dramatically behind every other class.
Yeah, also, to be fair, I do play every class.
Yeah, I mean, obviously your favorite is Dragon, but...
I like Dragon, but my umbrage is with lame cards that aren't fun to play.
Yeah, Igni is seen
Dragon
as
doesn't feel like
Dragon
it has anything special. Like, Dragon does feel like it's just playing cards, whereas other crafts have combos.
You're seen as the Dragon guy because that's what most of your branding is, but like you're not that biased. You're not biased the way that I am with Portal Crab. Remember how depressed I was on the first egg reveals, and now it's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine.
I play,
and I'm so much
play
happier.
literally every class. The dragon thing is a bit.
Have you tried portal decks this season that aren't egg? Because I did lose to a basically it was just a set 2 artifact deck, but I feel like that was a skill issue on my part.
I played
Puppet Naughty?
I played 2 games with Artifact, and it was the worst experience of my life. Granted, though, I did play a egg against Artifact, and I got farmed so hard because in the late game, they got the Carmelia give indestructible to Alpha.
That's what
right?
happened to me.
And he just played 2 of those when all of Egg's best removes are destruction. And I just died while he healed 18.
That's
I was like,
exactly what happened to me
I
playing
was
Dragon.
not prepared for this. I wasn't prepared for him to play a second copy of it. So I was like, oh, I just die. But I haven't played enough about Artifact that I would be able to know, but I really don't want to try it. Puppet is fine. Although Puppet kind of coasts off of it kind of only keeps up because of the neutral slot pile of Ginsetsu, Odin, and Dogged One sometimes. See, like we've been saying, like Ian, you and I have both been saying that it was too soon for them to print a card like Odin. A storm that has removal built in set 2 was way too soon. And now we have Ignideus, which is she's so versatile. Yeah. She's removable, she's heals, she's late game. You can buff up, but if a guy survives, you can evolve it, buff it up with Ignideus for more damage. She's late game burn and everything, dude. There's so much like Ignideus can do to the extent Ignideus is so stacked.
As the 2/2 Invoke one, I think she's much worse than the 7 play 0.35 though.
Oh yeah, duh, because the last Ignideus, the Storm to Omen's Ignideus was printed in like set 30. So obviously it's gonna be way higher power. But like the extent of how stacked Ignideus is in just set 3 is pretty crazy. It is kind of alarming to the extent where Spellboost Rune got 0 cards. All they got was Ignideus, and Ignideus was literally everything that could possibly ask for. More removal in the early game, heals, late game burn alongside climb if you don't have Kakata's combo. It's inconvenient, but I get to use Giln to help my bad decks to survive. So it's
Giln
okay
is
when
good
I
use it. Bad when enemy uses it.
This is exactly how I feel about defensing Roar in Vanguard. It got banned because of Buff Sagra, and I'm like, what about my Emma deck, man? Come on.
I didn't know it got hard banned. I thought it was like
it's restricted to
one. I thought it'd be okay. I thought it would be choice restricted, but anyway. But this is not a
restricted for the entire nation.
That's embarrassing.
And so
but this isn't a Vanguard podcast.
I'm paying for Buff Sargra's crimes for no reason. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, like Vanguard hits everything around Buff Sagra, but like will refuse to just straight up ban Buff Sagra stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Well, I mean, defending roaring an
Shadowverse
is good.
I don't think we're getting any emergency nerfs because they would have been announced today in the last like 2 hours. They've announced the balance changes for Take 2. They would have also announced the nerfs now. And if I am wrong about this, that's a win for me. So I'm going to boldly say that we're not getting nerfs until the end of the month.
I don't think we have enough evidence to decide that there's a specific time frame of when they would do emergency nerfs, but
well,
no, yeah, I feel like they would have done. I feel like they would have done emergency nerfs if they really had to. So we have to wait until the end of the month to get the regularly scheduled nerfs, maybe. And I highly doubt we're going to get any.
I hope Maddening Benison gets adjusted so it deals the 10 damage first and then heals 10 after the crest pops. I think that would be more fair.
That'd be really bad.
That'd be so bad, but that'd be
impossible to use.
All right. I think we've about covered it. Let's move on to the viewer question of the day.
Before we get to the viewer question, we should shout out the upcoming artwork event that's probably going to happen before we record again.
Didn't we say that last week?
Yeah, but gotta remind people, all the artists in the chat.
Yeah, if you submit your art on a Twitter promotional campaign, you might get a chance to be put into Shadowverse Park.
Yeah, the posters that are in POC, they could display your artwork. You got to use like specific color sets and resolution for it, but otherwise, I think you just get to draw any character from the game as long as it's safe.
As long as it's safe, yeah. They're not gonna put up your freaking pornos in the game, okay? So calm down. All right, now let's move on to the viewer questions. Last episode, we asked, what deck are you playing first in set 3? Let me just take a look at the comments. I'm just spamming Mode Abyss. The deck is probably terrible, but I'm loving it, and I'm winning a surprising amount of games. That's not terrible.
Apparently, it's good enough.
It's definitely good enough. It's just that
it's a pretty common deck.
It's not the best. That's what I think. Like, the tier 2 is very wide. It's just that I feel like I said, the tier 1, the ways to counterplay them feel kind of narrow, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're playing a certain archetype, you're just like, well, I can't do anything here. You know?
I think the tier 2 decks are a lot better. They have a better chance in this format, but it's also just still really annoying to keep up with the other decks anyway.
And we got another comment here. Somebody said, actually good podcast, to be honest. Great, thanks.
Oh, thanks.
That implies that they expected it to be bad, but then they listened to it and they were like, pretty good. Forest Control
it's like,
and Stormhaven when the new cards drop. Well, it's not the...
I don't think
honestly,
Stormhaven exists.
It's the opposite.
Honestly,
it's,
though,
no Haven. Like the nothing Haven.
I've randomly fought against Stormhaven a couple of times, and it just kind of works. It just snowballs into Storm, and
Egg,
it's caught me off guard.
Shit is not a good sample.
No, yeah. To be fair, at that when I did fight Stormhaven, I was on Egg that whole time, so that is one thing. But there is something we said about Haven, Amulet Haven with eggs. I've had some guy in chat mention that you can do a thing with Skullfane. There's something there. It's not going to be meta, but there's a foundation for Amulet Haven that they could maybe build off of moving forward. Unless they just don't.
Yeah. Imagine. Sorry.
You know what? I've been playing plenty of Amulet and Crest Haven, actually, because whenever I'm in the park, I play Jerry Dragon. And I tell you what, you can get so many crests with Jerry Dragon. Or any Jerry deck, really.
Yes, right. That was the deck I was most looking forward to, is Jerry.
I'm so glad it's bad.
In what universe could it have been good? There's literally no possibility.
I will say, I did almost die to the funny Dragon Jerry ODK, where you do Fenny into Jerry into Cocytus and have the Jerry deck out the Cocytus deck. I almost lost to that. They were only missing the second copy of the Highlander Amulet to thin out the Cocytus deck to instant win the tablet. Yeah.
I had my opponent play 2 Feeney and then Jerry, and I got really confused for a moment. Why did they just destroy a double Feeney deck, and then they played 3 Playpoint Cocytus and won?
Oh, right. So this is why I'm not concerned about Crest Haven. It's because I play Jerry against them. If you want to be Crest Haven, just play Jerry. I fight Crest Haven all the time on Park. I fought so many Crest Havens and Jerry in Park, and it works fine. Sometimes, kind of.
This is bad advice. All right, next up is the next viewer question. Well, as we lampshaded earlier, they said that they're gonna look into doing balance patches at the end of every odd numbered month. It is September, the 9th month. Never forget. What do you think the balance patches are gonna be? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll talk about it next week as well. All right.
It very well probably is most likely going to be nothing, but you can go ahead and comment what you want to get nerfed.
Mm-hmm. Maddening Benison should deal 10 damage to the player in real life.
Norman should deal 10 to the player instead of heal 4.
It shocks you. Like, you get a shock collar to play Shadowverse.
They should add Norman to Mode Abyss.
It is funny that technically you can steal Norman, but you can't use it because you don't have any sigils.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, that's it for this episode. You can find me here. You can find Kaylin
Twitter, and
At-
probably Oceane.
And you can find Tonko on Such Batonko. If you want to learn
Me.
more about the drama, don't ask me. Okay, not my problem. Okay,
That's not
bye.
your field of interest.
I'm out.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.